Welcome back to the HPC Roadshow. I'm going to hand over to Chris Katsia, Country Manager for Boston, South Africa.
Thank you, Maz. Welcome back. As a reminder of today's agenda, shortly we will be joined by Laxmi Nageswari from the Boston Trading Academy to discuss accelerating education systems in the digital world. Following her, we will hear from Vic Milalia, Senior Vice President of Supermicro, who will share about green innovation in HPC. Following the session, we'll have some time for questions. If you have something that you'd like to ask our presenters, please click on the question mark icon in the Teams app and type it in. Time permitting, we'll answer as many of these as we can during the event. We have a special opportunity for our attendees. A secret password will be given out during every session, just like you see the one above. In fact, this is our second password, so make sure you note each one. Attendees who provide at least 7 passwords by the official close of our event can unlock training given by the Boston Training Academy this Friday, the 2nd of October. On Thursday afternoon, a form will go live in the same page you register on. We'll also provide you that over email for you to input your codes. So without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to Laxmi from the Boston Trading Academy.
Hi friends. Today's webinar is on accelerating the educational system in digital world. We will be trying to cover what is AI, what can AI do in education, emerging digital transformation trends in education, and the future of education. Let's discuss in detail all these concepts. As we all aware of, data science and AI has come a long way. Business leaders and investors universally agree that artificial intelligence, machine learning will transform their businesses by reducing cost, managing risk, streamlining the operations, accelerating the growth, and fueling the innovations. The potential for AI to drive revenue and profit growth is enormous. Marketing, customer service, and sales were identified as the top 3 functions where AI can realize its full potential. Autonomous cars, drones, recommendation systems, 360 degrees profiling of customers, medical and MRI image analysis by AI are few areas where AI is being implemented by companies worldwide. What separates AI projects that succeed from the ones that do not often has more to do with the business strategies, organizations following when applying technologies than the ability of the technology itself to transform the business. Many of the problems are less about the tools and more about leadership. Most of the failures to harness the power of AI lies in human behavior, management understanding, and the failure to mesh algorithmic capabilities into organizations, business models, and culture of the business. With this background, let's discuss more in detail how big data is the key to AI success. Big data is AI's fuel. It is both what trains AI to become increasingly powerful and what AI systems are ultimately applied to in order to generate real-world insights. The more data AI system can track, the greater their intelligence and disruptive potential. While AI as a concept has been around for more than 50 years now, a shortage of structured data for much of that span and computational limits stunt AI's growth. We will look at a few specific cases of the benefits of AI usage. Manufacturers are seeing an average of 20% productivity gains from smart factories. $60 billion estimated energy cost savings of commercial buildings with 1 to 4% of increase in the intelligent technology. 50% of companies that embrace AI over the next 5 to 7 years may double their cash flows. And $60 billion annual global cost of cybersecurity damages by 2021. The AI potential of data. Artificial intelligence is a wide-ranging tool that enables people to rethink how we integrate information, analyze data, and use the resulting insights to improve decision making. As we know, AI is transforming every walk of life, from Google Maps recommendations for movies in Netflix, product recommendations in Amazon, demand supply for rides like Ola, Uber, among others. For our purpose, we define AI as computer systems that have been designed to interact with the world through capabilities. For example, visual perception and speech recognition, intellectual behavior as tools that we would think of as essential links. To sum up on this AI potential, the data is about algorithms, machine learning, and decision theory. Is AI really a game changer? Yes, I have few data points to showcase on my slide. Across industries, 30% of companies will employ AI to increase at least one primary sales process by 2020. 100% of IoT initiatives will be supported by AI by 2021. AI is driving customer interactions to a large extent by 2025. While the debate regarding how much screen time is appropriate for children ranging or among educators, psychologists, and parents, it's another emerging technology in the form of AI and ML that is beginning to alter education tools and institutions by changing what the future might look like in the education space. It is expected that artificial intelligence in education will grow by 47.5% from 2020 to 2025. Even though most experts believe that the critical presence of teachers is irreplaceable, there will be many changes to a teacher's job and to educational best practices. Let's discuss on what AI can do in education. As we discussed, artificial intelligence is a major influencer on the state of education today, and the implications are huge. AI has the potential to transform how our education system operates, heightens the competitiveness of institutions, and empower teachers and learners of all abilities. Educators see AI as instrumental to their institution's competitiveness, yet most institutions still lack a formal data strategy to advance AI. Let's discuss why AI for education. In terms of need for AI, how AI can help promote innovations, enhance skills and abilities, and finally how AI helps in automation of complex solutions intelligently and optimize productivity. Let's look at what AI can do for education. Well, in my opinion, AI can sense, think, and act every possible phase in the business process. With this background, we'll discuss more on the adaptive learning approaches in AI education. We will look into why of adaptive learning in this slide. Every student has individual features such as knowledge, goals, experience, interest, backgrounds, personal traits, learning styles, learning activities, and study results. User model or learner model is constructed from these features. The process to build up learner model is called user modeling process or learner modeling process. Adaptive learning system uses learner model to make adaptation. In other words, adaptive learning system takes advantages of individual information available in learner model in order to tailor learning materials like lessons, exercises, tests, etc., and teaching methods to each student. Anyway, learning model is very important to adaptive learning system and other adaptive applications. When we are discussing what can AI do in education, an AI education system is one that is designed to provide appropriate individualized feedback to a student. Achieving there requires that the education system knows something about effective approaches to teaching, which is represented in a pedagogical model, the subject being learned representing the domain model, the student represented in the learner model. Examples of the specific knowledge that might be integrated into each of these models. The domain and pedagogy models also use this information to determine the next most appropriate interactions. It could be learning material or learning activities. Importantly, the learner's activities are continuously fed back into the learner model, making the model more richer and more complete, and the system smarter. AI-driven companies are outstripping the traditional firms. The value that scale delivers eventually traps off in traditional operating models. But in digital operating models, it can climb much higher. It's hard to think of a business that is not facing the pressing need to digitalize its operation model and respond to the new threats. The threat from digital natives is overhealing and is forcing incumbents to be on guard to defend the market share. The digital transformation trends in education. While the education is continuing to evolve, based upon my experience as a learner, college instructor, researcher, author analyzing digital trends, the following are my topics from not just technology trends, but overall shift in how we all be learning and connecting through technology moving forward. Schools and education must evolve to embrace new learning styles and technologies that can capture students while concurrently maintaining the integrity of the knowledge in the areas like literature and history that helps create well-rounded people. This should really be at the core of our change and digital transformation efforts in the education. Artificial intelligence is now a part of our normal lives, and look at how AI is changing the education industry. We are surrounded by this technology, from automatic parking systems, smart sensors for taking spectacular photos, and personal assistants. To discuss, let us take few examples for us to be more comfortable in understanding these concepts. Simplifying the administrative tasks. AI can automate the administrative duties for teachers and academic institutions. Educators spend a lot of time on grading exams, assessing the homeworks, and providing valuable responses to their students. Smart content. AI and education go hand in hand, and the new techniques could be all that is required to ensure that all the students attain their ultimate academic success. Smart content is a very hot subject matter today. Personalized learning. Have you checked the type of personalized recommendations on Netflix? The same technology is being utilized in how students are taught at schools. Global learning. Education has no limits, and AI can help to eliminate boundaries. The technology brings drastic transactions by facilitating the learner of any course from anywhere across the globe and at any time. AI-powered education equips students with fundamental IT skills. New efficiencies. AI improves IT processes and unleashes new efficiencies. For instance, town planners could use it to minimize traffic jams, improve the safety of pedestrians, etc. The game-changing power of AI includes helping teachers. Combining an AI-based content curation system with student data, teachers can identify from a global database the best material and strategies to use in the classroom. Personalizing the learning experience. AI-based tutoring and guided content that adapts according to student learning styles, needs, and engagement can help students learn at their own pace. Enhancing the third-party learning content. AI such as third-party tools by understanding how a specific student is interacting with the platform and recommending the right content for each student to ensure they are learning. Now let's look at the value of AI. Value of AI is phenomenal. In developing countries, technology has already had huge impact on the classroom learning experience, from smart boards and laptops to virtual reality experiences. Better educational outcomes. As AI improves the educational experience for students, upper secondary school graduates rates will climb, which will translate into lower unemployment and higher wages for their future. Improved quality and scalability of teacher trainings. AI can improve teacher performance by helping them access the best resources and teaching methods for their specific students. By thus, minimizing the needs for other less effective training activities on the topic. Making personalized education a reality. With AI capabilities expanding and the cost of computing power declining, society finds education on the cusp of transformation. AI in education for students is beneficial in terms of education at any time, and people spend a lot of time on the go. They prefer doing everyday tasks using their smartphones or tablets. AI-based applications provide an opportunity to study in free time, spending 10 or 15 minutes. Additionally, the student can get feedback from the tutors in a real-time mode. Various options due to the student's needs. AI-based solutions can adapt due to the student's level of knowledge, interesting topics, and so on. The system trained to help students with their weak side. It offers learning materials based on their weaknesses. Virtual mentors. AI-based platforms offers virtual mentors to track the student progress. Of course, only human teachers can understand the scholar's needs better, but it's good to get instant feedback from the virtual mentors. The future of education in AI assisted and not AI-led. AI will not replace teachers, but it will definitely assist and complement teachers. Artificial intelligence is a major influence on the state of education today, and the implications are huge. AI has the potential to transform how our education system operates, heightens the competitiveness of institutions, and empower teachers and learners of all abilities. To summarize on this particular topic, educators see AI as instrumental to their institutions' competitiveness. Yet, most institutions still lack a formal data strategy to advance AI. AI has the power to become an equalizer in education and a key differentiator for institutions that embrace it. With this, friends, thanking you all for attending this webinar. Now we will move on to Q&A session. Thank you.
So Laxmi, I've got a question for you here just to kick off. How much investment are educational institutions going to need to make, and what support can they get if they're looking to embed AI in their curriculum?
When it comes to investment, Maz, I don't think there is a huge investment requirement when we adopt AI in education system. All we need to know is the right path for implementing AI in the curriculum. not necessarily in technology-oriented courses, but we can think around the non-technical courses like management and other commerce education also. Schools majorly across the globe have started giving importance to AI education, starting with basic programming language and advanced mathematical learning journey. And when it comes to a starting point for any particular university or institution to adopt AI, they can just look into content creation, write content relevant to their particular existing courses and implementation or coverage of AI into that particular portion. And then we think of hardware requirement, hardware or software tools. I don't think that is a heavy burden on the organizations when we look at the outcomes out of this investment. It's a very minimal amount to start with AI journey.
Okay, fantastic. And what kind of support can the Boston Training Academy offer to institutions that might want to, have data science courses? I'm thinking more kind of on the college and university level.
So we start developing the curriculum, course designs, and then we will be able to provide the content and train their trainers so that they will be able to handle the delivery part. And we bring our industry expertise to campuses to touch on the existing industry-oriented modules from our end. And generally, we go with 70% hands-on training on data science and AI courses.
Fantastic. And I'm sure we'll touch on this, later in the schedule, but it would be great just to give a quick overview of the Centers of Excellence and the Boston Training Academy.
Yeah. So we generally setting up a Center of Excellency AI innovation labs within the university campuses as well as within higher school campuses as well. We do take up entire responsibility of creating the architecture for Center of Excellency AI, which will indeed help the university to focus more on innovation, incubation centers, and encourage the research activity from both the student and the faculty community. We do provide mentoring those projects from our industry experts, and that innovation lab will definitely encourage student community to build new ideas around innovation in the space of data science, AI, IoT, Industry 4.0 technologies. And we have multiple models based on the budget comfort zone from the university side. So if they can mention their requirement, our team will quickly come back with a suitable model which will fit into their requirements as well as their expectations out of that COE setup.
I just want to add, if anyone is interested in the Boston Training Academy, you can visit boston-it.co.za, and you'll be able to click on the Boston Training Academy from the top navigation. Okay, don't think there are any more questions. So Laxmi, thank you very much for joining us today. I know we're going to be speaking to you tomorrow and another couple of times during the course of the event. Thank you.